Hi everyone, thank you very much for being with us today. Today I'm very honored and happy to be here with Joseph Oleshangay. Joseph is a human rights activist and a lawyer from Tanzania who's been fighting for the rights of the Maasai people. And Joseph, you've been awarded the Human Rights Award by the city of Weimar this year, 2023. Joseph, this award, what does it mean for you and for your cause of the Maasai people?
Okay, thank you very much. And actually, first for having me this morning, which I love to share, what happens and what we have been fighting for. And to respond to your question, the award by the Weimar city on human rights, it means so much to me as a person and with everything that I do. The first things that when I was told we are going to award this for you, like everything that I was doing, I never expected anyone to be doing anything. I was doing because I think I have a moral obligation to do. It's not just like fighting for the people I don't know. It's for my community, myself, and my parents and everyone. So it's like being awarded for doing your responsibility, of course. But it tells me it is right. Like everything that I do, some people somewhere, some I never met before. I have never been in Weimar, and I have been in Germany, of course, for the same things about the Maasai rights. So it tells me the first thing is everything that I do it in the right way, which is also pressing me to be doing better. That's the first message that I get. But it also means everyone oppressing our people is doing it wrong. So I should keep saying what I always say because they are wrong. Another message that came into my mind after that award, because we celebrate, and I said if you celebrate that, like fighting for human rights, there are aggressors. There is someone still violating, which I say is we have a responsibility to continue fighting for that, which I think is a right cause. But it also sends a message of solidarity to our people. So it's not Joseph alone, it's not Oleshangay alone, because it's not me alone also fighting for the Maasai rights. It's a collection of dedicated men and women, community members, very solid. So it also sends a message of solidarity to us. So that's what briefly the award means.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Of course, Joseph, we've already heard and read a lot about the horrible evictions of Maasai people, especially from Ngorongoro area, but they also face a lot of challenges in other places as well. As a lawyer, you represent those people directly, and you speak to the public about the situation of your own community. Can you tell us a little bit about your work?
Okay, because I'm an advocate, yes. Of course, I work with the NGO that dedicates to providing legal aid to people who cannot, get access to courts. They cannot pay private lawyers. So it's a dedicated teams working for that. And then in the mid of, that's my daily routine for all the people, not necessarily the Maasai. Then this problem came, which to me I has a very personal responsibility into it. And so the first things, there were eviction, as you said, already in Loliondo, 70,000 people displaced in a day, like tomorrow, we don't want you here, get out. Which to me, I think, of course, is every human responsibility to take some actions, and that it includes me as a person, but more particularly as a person from that community. So what I started doing is trying to speak out, like this is not right. This is actually what is being done. In time, collecting testimonies of the people affected and put them public, hoping it might even show the government that at least some people are watching. Then the second one is the land is gone. Many people are, affected in many ways. Their homes were distracted, their livestock seized, they were actually displaced, which is not right. And so I and my colleague decided to be going to court. So from June last year, we have 14 cases in different courts. They violate this, we file a case. It's a government. It has many machineries. It never cares, by the way. So they violate, we go to court. So with the problem, for example, that happened in Lyondo last year, they declared a game control area. We went to court challenging. It never follows the law. And the court said in September this year, it never follows the law. But in the middle of it, the president declared the same area into a game reserve. We have to go to court again, which the case is actually pending. In Ngorongoro, the place actually that I'm from, government is paralyzing social service, like access to medicine, access to health facilities, education facilities, like crashing everything to force the people. Like they say, okay, we are not shifting you, but we are crumpling every single system, health service and others, hoping it can force everyone to get out. They first come and say the following school be demolished. School, government schools, dispensaries, government dispensaries, and like crashing everything. And they say, no, it is not us forcing. These people are actually fleeing the area because they are so poor. There are disease, they can't get medical service, but it's actually them taking away.
Yeah.
And so we said, no, this is not human. So we went to court. So I go to court. I represent for anything that in my opinion, I think it can require legal intervention in court, but also speak out for the things that I think it requires, a collective humanity to do something. So in those, I try to speak, because one of the challenges that we are getting is we are like sort of marginalized in many ways. We are not close to the centers of power in my country, and the state is controlling media, so the media cannot say anything. And so we'll be, crashing in the dark, and no one will know what is happening. So we say, no, we can play some roles. So
thank you very much. Can we linger on the issue of infrastructure for a bit again? So what you're saying is that government institutions demolish the infrastructure which was there in place in order to then retrospectively argue people lack infrastructure, so we need to resettle them. That is quite a vicious thing to do.
Very vicious. It is this way. And is from the real center of powers. So it is the president who come public and say there is a problem here. 6 days later, the government wrote a notice saying, they never said we're implementing what the president said. They said the following government primary schools, 9 of them were actually built by the government without the government consent, which is never possible. Some of the schools were there since 1970s, 80s, and come to realize in 2021, it was actually 2021 by that time, it was April. Then 6 out of the only 7 dispensaries they have, the government has 7 dispensaries in the area, they said 6 of them, they were built by the government without us approving as a government. And so, it also included a police station, which no Maasai can build a police station. It included churches, 4 of them, 1 mosque. And they say, we are doing this because, this actually what the government says, because, there are rampant, settlements that were built without permits, so they are crashing those. I and many other people said, no, this is not actually addressing the rampant settlements that the government is actually arguing. You are paralyzing everything. so that we cannot, whoever, as you know, there are some Maasai Christians, whoever want to go to church, there's no church. Whoever have any grievance like any other community, there is no police station. That's actually what they wanted. You want to take a kid to schools, there are no schools. You are sick, there is no health sector. So we started complaining and saying, no, this is not right. Then they responded saying, okay, you people, we are going to suspend this temporarily. Next year, the same April, exactly 12 months, they come with a new strategy. Now, don't demolish physically, but they wrote a letter on 30th March 2022, which I have the letter here. And they said all the money, they wrote to the primary schools, the same primary school they wanted to demolish. So you, Indian primary schools, we know there is this amount in your bank. Deposit it by 5th April into this special account created, like sort of recovering all the fund from the place that I live. So now we have some, structures known as dispensaries without anything. They cannot buy any medicine, simple as paracetamol. Then they went sort of, because this is important for everyone to understand, they went to even private people, the Catholic Church, threatening to close the Catholic hospital. It's not theirs. It's not depending for them. Then they went to an NGO affiliated to the Catholic Church again, by the name of Medical Flying Service, which I have the report here. And they told them, you are not allowed to provide health facilities in this area. That is same April 2022. So everything happened close to April, crashing everything. So they were grounded Medical Flying Service. They were in Gorongoro from 1960s. They were doing a very good service, vaccine, normal treatment, they carry medicines. Because if there are only 7 dispensaries by the government, you can understand there is a limited access to service. And many of them were actually new. Some of the dispensaries were built during Magufuli presidency. Before, we only had Endolema hospitals and 1 dispensary serving the technocrats in the Conservation Authority, which was actually saved. It was not targeted because it was not serving Maasai, but other people. So impact after that, is so much. It's like, so you have a community of 100,000 people by government-owned data who cannot literally get anything. For the last 2 years, 2022, 2023, now budget for 2023, 2024, they have not received a coin for anything. Government always plan a budget for every place in the country. They have not even attempted to budget, so that they say, there was some discrepancy somewhere we are not able to implement. They have not budgeted a coin for anything. So, and they're actually saying, no, this place is no longer for people to live. So we cannot establish something new. But there are people who are not going, planning to go, like myself, like my parents, like everyone around me. It's so many people. So the impact of that is so much. Some people dying, and we know by name. On 25 July, one woman from a place known as Kakesio, her name is Nalalami. She went to Endolen Hospital. She was pregnant. It was like discovered Endolen Hospital cannot handle. It was a complicated case. So they called the ambulance, the Medical Flying Service. Please come and airlift her to Arusha. Medical Flying Service, they have a pilot, they have the planes, they are ready to come. But the government say no. That woman waited an extra day, then got a car all the way to Arusha now through the road, and died at the entrance of the referral hospital in Arusha. Then there are some people actually who spoken to the media, some are actually getting out of Ngorongoro now, after that pressure. There are some people who are getting out, which the government always celebrates. And some of them spoken out. Someone saying, and is available in the media, saying, 2 days ago, we were carrying a pregnant woman and she died on the way. We're carrying by you make a sort of a bed, you move with foot, because the government is limiting the cars to carry the patients, and they die. And someone saying, I cannot stay here any longer. We have again people, and this again captured in the media, which the government sponsored them, and they think like these people are giving testimony of the horrible situation on, forgetting it is actually them created. Someone said, and actually was from a place known as Easi. He's not a Maasai, he's a barbaric person. And he said, several days ago, they had a child who was sick. And they went to someone named as Andrea. Andrea has a car, he's a person in that area who has a car. And Andrea said, I can run you to Endulen Hospital. Endulen is actually my village. But the authorities do not allow me to move now because it was around 8 p.m. So we should wait until the morning so that I can rush the kid to the hospital. And by morning, the child has died. And that person, the father saying that, and after a few days, he's out and saying, there is no way I can live in that area. So it's horrible. It's literally difficult to explain.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing this. Also these individual stories, because that's also, I think, important for our audience to understand that eviction does not necessarily always happen through direct force, but you can evict a number of people by denying them access to basic needs, basic services.
In my situation, in Loliondo, it was guns. Like shoot all the people, 41 of them, and everyone ran out. Then in another, they create conditions that make you flee. Starvation, like crumple everything. And they know you are a human being, you love the life. So there is some way you'll say, no, I love this place. It's attached to everything that makes me a human being. But I cannot enjoy if I die. So I have to get out. So you're right, not necessarily always that there is a physical violence that you can verify. Threat to death can take many forms. And one of them is actually taking place in Ngorongoro in a very large number.
Yeah, that's a very important point. Thank you so much. Back to here and now. Joseph, in the past couple of days, I think you've also had the opportunity, and you continue to have the opportunity to talk to politicians here in Germany as well. And I read that tomorrow you will confront the Frankfurt Zoological Society in Frankfurt. Can you tell us what are your wishes, expectations, messages for the German civil society and government respectively?
My message to Germans, the government, the civil society, the people, because, of course, the one violating our human rights is our government. But the problem we are having are not small enough to be called local problems. It's not getting attention like what's happening in Ukraine or Gaza, but it's a very serious human rights issue, which I think from the German government, Tanzania, they are very close. They have very close relationship. And this particular sector, because this problem, the government says, we are actually doing it for nature, nature conservation. That's the rhetorics. But it's not. It's a business, like they want my home and make it an hotel, and they say, so you are many, so that they justify, or they say, so you are poor. Sometimes they say, but you're not educated, so we take you out by starting to crash small education facilities in the area. My small message is they should watch, they should follow up, they should call out, particularly my government, and I think the German government in many ways, identifying as a civilized country, the action should show that by calling out their partners. And I think Tanzania is a very, very close partner to the German government. But again, I and many of the Maasai community believes German taxpayers find their ways into the problem we are having. This year alone, German government gave Tanzania, not the entire Tanzania government, the same ministry violating our rights, 28 million euro. That is to support the machineries that displace our people. To support, actually, the people who went to Loliondo and shot people were the rangers from every single place you can imagine, Serengeti, Ngorongoro, Ruaha. There were police, and I talked to someone when violence was taking place in 10. He told me he's seen like a regional police commander, almost from every single region. There was some prison service, there were military, and we have a video of the regional commissioner in Arusha telling the chief of defense forces, we thank you very much for giving us the military for the operation we are conducting in Loliondo and Ngorongoro. We took that to court, and the judge said, I have seen, is a video, people talking live things. So, facilitating that ministry, giving them finance, is taking role in the repression. You can say, I'm not responsible, but we know whoever gives them money, either from Germany, either from America, either from China, whoever supports them is taking a responsibility in it, which I think we don't need them to come and apologize 100 years later. That I wish we knew, like what they did with the Stanmeier a few days ago. We need them to act now because their money is there, very, very straight. In January again, they gave them, so they provided money, they provided them cars. And the business of those cars is to chase the Maasai livestock and seize them and sold. Before coming to German a few days ago, Tanzania government admitted for this year alone, we have seized 19,000 livestock from the Maasai community and sold, they said we closely got close to 1 billion Tanzanian shillings from innocent pastoralists. That is not accurate. We have received close to 4 billion of the livestock seized and sold. 39,000 livestock. But again, the government says at least 19. That's not small. It's our economy. So anyone saying, oh, this is not conservation. So if they can get 1 billion shillings from seizing Maasai livestock, those people do not need any money for support because they are already having the place they can get money. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so Steinmeier apologized for the colonial injustices,
yes.
But as civil society of today, we need to take those responsible and...
Exactly, because I actually said about the government, we have the German government providing direct money. That's 28 million euro that I said. Anyone can Google. There is a department in the same ministry known as Tower. It was initiated by some characters from the German here, from some of the CSOs.
Tanzania Wildlife Authority.
Exactly.
Right?
It was actually an idea from Frankfurt Zoological Society and others. And it has been established, is one of the brutal machineries you can think. Is being supported from the centers of power here. And they always try to forget that we are human beings, that they have a responsibility to listen to us also. So you have, we understand we have our own governments, but I think whoever support human rights anywhere should not close their eyes and ears that they don't listen other problems. So I think the CSOs here have also a responsibility to follow what happens and call out.
Thank you for that message. So by now we've already entered a little bit the international sphere. So as a last question, maybe, because I know your time is limited for today. As a lawyer and an activist, you're familiar with the ILO Convention 169, and we are going to have an upcoming debate on the role of this specific convention for the case of Tanzania. To what extent could a ratification process in Tanzania be helpful for your cause, and do you see any movement in that direction?
First part of the question, it is so helpful if we can ratify, because the ILO conventions on indigenous and tribal people, actually, the problem now that we are having in Tanzania, they're saying Maasai are not indigenous, and in many ways they are saying Maasai are not citizen. They say that in public, and ratifying the ILO, then it brings protections, in many ways, because it applies to what we think, not what the government wants us to feel. So it is about the culture, it is about the spirituality, it is about, the economy of the people as against the mainstream, and it's the same problem happening with the Maasai in Tanzania. So if Tanzania was to ratify, maybe it will reduce many of the problems that we're having. Is Tanzania likely to do that? No. This is very honest. They are too much now against Maasai than any time before of any, we have never seen from the colonial time, Germans, British, then the 5 successive governments, a government that is in war completely with one tribe, the way they are dealing with the Maasai. Is a tribal thing, so they fear that maybe if they ratify, it will bring some backlash into them. So we'll keep pushing, of course, but I don't see them doing.
So very little hope for the moment on that side of the ILO convention, but we continue to push. Joseph,
yes.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your engagement, for your struggle. Congratulations again for being awarded with the Weimar Human Rights Prize. And I hope we'll meet next time round. Thank you very much also very much to the Society for Threatened Peoples for facilitating this meeting, and to the team and board of Tanzania Network, of course. See you next time.
Thank you very much.